Hey everyone, and welcome back. We are diving into something pretty amazing today, like the potential of a kid's mind. We're going to be checking out the work of Charlotte Mason.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, she's a total pioneer in education.
Absolutely.
And we've got excerpts from her book series, Volume 6, pages 38 to 44.
Okay.
And honestly, get ready to have your mind blown because her ideas are seriously revolutionary.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
What I find so fascinating about Mason is how she really challenges the traditional view of education. She's like, let's move beyond just addressing the symptoms of learning.
Okay.
And instead tap into the limitless power of the mind itself.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Yeah.
What does she mean by symptoms versus the mind?
Right. So it's easy to get caught up in those outward signs that a child is struggling, right? Like maybe they're having a hard time memorizing facts or following instructions, and we think, okay, we need to fix this. But Mason is saying, hold on a second. What if instead of just treating the symptoms, we focused on understanding the incredible power source behind it, all the mind itself? It's
Right. Okay, instead of just giving someone cough syrup when they have a cold,
right.
What if we actually help them boost their immune system?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a great analogy.
So they don't get sick in the first place.
You're getting it. It's about looking deeper, you see.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do we shift from focusing on those outward symptoms to nurturing the mind itself?
This is where it gets really interesting. Mason argues that constantly drilling kids with isolated facts, it's kind of like just teaching them where to put their fingers on piano keys without ever letting them actually play music.
Oh, I see.
It's like, here's where C is, here's D, here's E, but they never get to experience the magic of creating a melody.
So it's not just about having the knowledge, it's about understanding how to use it, how to be creative with it.
Exactly. And Mason believed that true learning happens when we engage with ideas. She calls them food for the mind.
Food for the mind. Okay, now you're speaking my language. Tell me more.
It's such a powerful analogy, right? Just like our bodies need nutritious food to grow and thrive, our minds need stimulating, challenging ideas to truly flourish.
So instead of just memorizing the alphabet, we should be presenting kids with the idea of language, of storytelling, of communication, those big, powerful concepts.
You got it. And Mason gives us some really vivid examples of what this looks like in action.
All right, hit me with one. I'm ready to have my perspective transformed.
Okay, let's take geography. Imagine teaching a child about the Severn Bore. Have you heard of it?
The what?
The Severn Bore is this natural phenomenon where this giant wave travels upriver, defying the current.
No way. Really?
Yeah, it's incredible. So instead of just showing a kid a picture in a textbook,
Right.
Mason would say, no, let them experience it in their mind's eye. Imagine the roar of the water as this massive wave surges against the current, changing the landscape right in front of them.
Wow, that is so much cooler than just seeing a static image. It's like suddenly you're right there. You can practically feel the spray of the water on your face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just the beginning. And, Mason would encourage you to connect that image to other tidal bores around the world, maybe even imagine yourself surfing on that wave.
Whoa, now that's an education I can get behind.
Right. It's about sparking that genuine excitement, that thirst for knowledge.
Totally. It reminds me of getting lost in a good book as a kid. Suddenly you're not just reading words on a page, you're right there in the story.
Absolutely. And Mason uses such beautiful language to describe this kind of learning,
Yeah.
He says, the child's mind is, get this, magnified and delighted by knowledge.
I love that. Magnified and delighted. That's what learning should be.
Exactly. It should fill you with wonder.
Right. Not a chore,
No.
but an adventure.
And it's not just about, soaking up information.
Sure.
It nourishes something else that's so important,
What's that?
the child's heart.
Oh, okay. So we're not just talking about raising little geniuses here,
Right.
but also kind, compassionate humans.
Exactly.
Okay. So tell me more about this whole heart aspect.
Okay. So Mason, she believed that children aren't born as blank slates. They come into the world with this incredible capacity for love, generosity, a sense of justice, all those qualities we associate with a good heart.
So it's not that we have to teach them to be good.
Right.
It's more we need to make sure we don't mess it up.
Right. Think about it, how easily a young child offers comfort, forgives a slight, shows empathy that seems way beyond their years, These aren't things that have necessarily been taught. It's it's hardwired into who they are.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder if those qualities just fade as we get older.
Yeah.
Or if they get overshadowed by, life.
Right, all the stuff life throws at us.
Yeah.
It's a question with huge implications, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure.
If children are naturally wired for compassion and deep understanding, how can we as, parents, educators, even just adults in the world, how can we create environments where those qualities can actually flourish?
Yeah, it's like we need to shift our focus from filling their heads with knowledge to like nurturing this amazing potential that's already there.
Exactly. And this brings us to another fascinating point Mason makes about how children learn best, by the way.
Okay.
She actually cautions against bombarding them with too many illustrations,
Really?
especially those overly simplified ones we often see in textbooks.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm following you on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, pictures can be so engaging, especially for younger kids, like who are just learning to read.
Yeah.
What's wrong with a little visual aid?
It's not about banning visuals altogether, you see. Mason believed there's a big difference between, everyday illustrations and experiencing the power of a great work of art, She argued that children are capable of creating incredibly vivid mental images on their own, often surpassing anything we could show them.
So you're saying, kids have better imaginations than Hollywood special effects teams?
In a way, yes. Think about it. When a child reads a story,
Yeah.
they're not just passively absorbing words on a page. They are actively building a world in their minds, complete with sights, sounds, even smells, emotions.
Right.
It's way more immersive than just seeing it on a screen.
So, if I read Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
my mental image of Gandalf or, the Mines of Moria, it's probably way cooler than anything in the movies.
Exactly. Our imaginations are capable of creating these incredibly nuanced and personalized experiences that no external image can truly replicate.
That's so true.
And Mason worries that by constantly handing children ready-made images, we risk limiting their own unique interpretations.
It's like we're saying, this is what a mountain looks like, instead of letting them imagine a mountain range that, stretches to the moon and back.
And this principle, it applies to more than just stories, by the way.
Okay.
Remember that geography lesson about the Severn boar?
Yeah.
Instead of relying on pictures, Mason would encourage educators to, paint those vivid pictures with words. Right?
Yeah.
Allowing children to truly experience the world through sensory details and evocative descriptions.
So instead of just pointing to a dot on a map and saying, this is Paris, you're talking about making them feel the cobblestone streets beneath their feet, hear the street musicians playing accordions, maybe even smell the freshly baked croissants wafting from a nearby cafe.
Now you're getting it. It's about bringing the world to life, sparking their curiosity, making them feel like they've actually been there, even if it's just in their minds.
It sounds like this approach could make learning about anything from history to science to even math feel like an adventure.
Exactly. And Mason didn't just limit this to academic subjects, She was a huge advocate for exposing children to great works of art, music, architecture. Not just as pretty pictures or melodies, but as experiences that could ignite their imaginations and deepen their understanding of the world.
It's like we're opening up all these different avenues for them to, explore and experience the world, not just telling them about it.
Precisely. And through those experiences, we're also nurturing their ability to appreciate beauty, to make connections, to find joy in unexpected places.
Yeah.
It's about feeding that sense of wonder that Mason believed was so essential to, a fulfilling life.
Yeah, and that brings us back to the heart, right? It's not just about filling their heads with knowledge, but also cultivating those innate qualities of love and generosity and compassion.
Exactly. And, Mason, she argued that these qualities are not things we, impose on children from the outside.
Okay.
They're already there, woven into the very fabric of their being.
Yeah.
Our job is to create the space for them to blossom.
It's like those qualities are little seeds, and we need to provide the right soil and sunlight and water for them to grow.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It really highlights how crucial our role is as adults, in shaping a child's environment, their experiences. Are we exposing them to beauty, to kindness, to examples of compassion, integrity? Are we creating opportunities for them to exercise their own empathy, their own generosity?
Yeah, it's almost like we often talk about children needing to learn from us.
Right.
But maybe we've got it backward.
Yeah.
Maybe we have just as much, if not more, to learn from them.
Yes.
About wonder, about empathy, about approaching the world with an open heart.
That is a profound insight, and one I think Mason would wholeheartedly agree with.
Yeah.
She saw children as possessing a clarity of vision, a purity of heart
Yeah.
that we as adults often lose sight of amidst, the complexities of life.
For sure. And, as we're wrapping up this deep dive, it feels like we're left with more than just information about education.
Absolutely.
We're left with a challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if instead of trying to mold children into our image of what they should be,
Right.
we took the time to really see them,
Yes.
to appreciate their unique gifts, and to create a world where those qualities aren't just accepted but celebrated?
What a beautiful vision. It makes you wonder what the world could be like if we all approached each other, not just children, but each other, with that same sense of wonder, that same openness to learning, that same capacity for, love and compassion.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about.
It is.
And I think that's the power of, diving deep into ideas like these.
Absolutely.
It's not just about acquiring knowledge. It's about letting that knowledge change us, challenge us, and inspire us to create a better world, starting with how we nurture that incredible potential that's within every child.
I couldn't agree more. It's a reminder that the future really does lie in their hands. And it's our responsibility to equip them not just with knowledge, but with the wisdom, the empathy, the imagination to create a future worthy of their potential.
So well said. And on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.
Yes. Thank you.
You hope you found it as thought-provoking and inspiring as we did.